Welcome, Tim. Welcome to the commentary. We have here the crew from China, the Chinese Rowing Federation, Liu and Wang, who yesterday set the barrier record in an impressive victory. And then over on the Buckingham Station, we have the crew from New Zealand, another crew from Wairaraki Rowing Club, and they are the crew who will be competing on the World Circuit this year. So this is two world-class crews racing in the final Henley Royal Regatta once again.
So ready to go in the Stonor, Liu and Wang of China, Donoghue and Loe of New Zealand. Quite ready just yet. Both on the Buck Station, the New Zealanders. A little bit of wind buffeting them around up at Temple Island.
Yeah, the crews have had a bit of issue trying to keep straight, to be honest. We've had a lot of tapping in the bow seat to keep this bows from slipping to the right-hand side. But we had no issues so far with clashes or anything. The Dutch last one a little bit wayward, but actually after that it was fine.
Ready now, and off and running in the final of the Stonor. You're watching the Buck Station, the steering of Donoghue, and Loe have gone fairly central here.
Yeah, again, the same thing happened in the last race. The crew on the Buckingham Station being pushed across maybe a little bit by the stream coming off the island. But they're not impinging on the Chinese at all. A clean start. Now time for the crews to find a rhythm and get on with the race.
Settle down into a rhythm. Pretty good conditions here. There is that breeze, but temperature-wise, it's perfect, isn't it? Just about perfect.
Oh, I mean, all week it's been very hot, and today for the athletes it's absolutely spot on. We've got some fast conditions. We had some records being broken this morning. The visitors, they broke the record to the barrier. And here we have the Chinese, the New Zealand crew. They won the World Cup 2 weeks ago, and the Chinese crew were in the same race, finishing 5th. So these are two world finalist crews, and on form you'd say it should be the New Zealand double, but looking how things have gone so far, I wouldn't put my money on anybody at this stage.
New Zealand double beat Bath University yesterday. Mulholland and Macro of Bath University couldn't live with the pace of the New Zealanders. Nearest the camera there, the black boat. Moment, this is teed up to be a fabulous race, isn't it? Because Liu and Wang of China have settled into a nice rhythm on the Berkshire Station. Really fluid and rhythmic at the moment.
Yeah, the New Zealanders seem to get a little bit of advantage in the beginning, but this rhythm they found in now, the Chinese just seem to have something just more powerful. Now, whether it's going to be too heavy and not sustainable, we'll find out, but the Kiwis on this side, nearest the camera, slightly higher cadence and just looks a bit more lively. But at the moment, the Chinese are getting better than New Zealanders.
Fascinating to know which of these two boats is the more confident, because Donoghue and Loe won this event, the Stonor, in 2017. So the New Zealanders know how to win this, and they'll be desperate to regain their title.
Yeah, and they're part of a system with the New Zealand that's used to winning medals. So when they're training in their training environment and doing training pieces with other crews in the team, they have comparisons to know how fast they're going, so their benchmarks are really high. Whereas the Chinese team does not have that kind of legacy, and since Steve Redgrave has come and taken over as performance director, I know he's trying to make some of the data more measured on these training pieces to try and get some better benchmarking for them to understand where they sit. So again, one's developing and learning the value of measuring what you're doing, and the Kiwis will be very, very used to that.
It's a big day for the Chinese squad, isn't it, here at Henley for the first time. This is the first Chinese boat we've seen on the water today on finals day, and for them it's such a big occasion. They want to lay down a marker and make everybody realise that they're taking Henley Royal Regatta very seriously, and at the moment they're doing a good job of that in this Stonor final on the Berkshire Station. They are more than matching the New Zealanders of Donoghue and Loe.
They are doing a really professional job. They will have far less experience than the New Zealand crew, but really it's all down to doing what you do in your boat. Row the right length, make sure you're timing the work together, and just row what you've been practicing over the months, and that's all you can do. If that's not quick enough, that's fine. You can't worry about what the other crew is doing. And the Chinese here seem to be looking straight down the course, really rowing in a really efficient rhythm. Probably maybe half a length of canvas ahead of the New Zealanders, but hard to tell from this angle.
Chinese boat beat the Germans yesterday. A lot of it is about how quickly you can recover from what has been a testing week for the stamina, and at the moment both of these boats look fresh enough. And I think the Chinese will be very pleased with the first half of this race, the way they put that race together. The New Zealanders are now making a move. They're just starting to get a little bit of an advantage, but the Chinese very much in it. I wonder what they can respond with.
This is really amazing seeing this, because this is almost exactly what the 8 just did to the British 8, the New Zealand crew. They were sort of level coming out of the blocks, hit something very similar in the rhythm, and then from 2 to 4 minutes they've just destroyed the other crew, and they've just done the same thing here in the double. So it must be something about the way they're pacing their race. Maybe they're not going off flat out and just making a much more even pace race. But that's astounding. They've just done the same thing the 8 did to the British women.
Yeah, in the space of 2 minutes they've moved up, well, a length and a half, 2 lengths?
Easily 2 lengths. I mean, there's something about the way they've been training, that this is the way they pace their race.
So they can produce a burst that no one will live with.
Well, it looks like that from here, but you kind of wonder whether maybe they just don't go completely flat out in the first 2 minutes, but then can sustain it better, whereas the other crews are peaking a bit more in their speed off the start and then have to go on to something slower. So it's flattering, perhaps.
It's impressive and it's very effective.
It is. It's really impressive. It's really impressive. And it was something that was very visible in the New Zealand men's pair in the lead up to London. They led all the races, but in the next season between London and Rio, they changed their race plan and didn't lead in the first 500 and then destroyed people through the middle. And this is again what these 2 Kiwi crews have just done.
Loe and Wang just meandering along a little bit there. Slight steering issue a few strokes back, and they have some work to do. I think this is going to be the part of the race that they're going to feel, isn't it? They're going to be digging very deep to try and stay in contention, but the New Zealanders here are putting a serious race together. Donoghue and Loe stretching away.
Yeah, it's a fantastic effort. I mean, they were the winners of the World Cup a few weeks ago, so they are on paper the fastest double in the world, but just the way they've executed that, and they've almost made the Chinese crew look quite pedestrian for those 2 minutes.
It's a reflection of the whole squad rather than just these 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same pattern that the 8 just rode, and we'll see maybe later on when the men's 8 race in the ground against the Romanians whether anything similar happens. But there, New Zealand, Donoghue and Loe from New Zealand putting on an exhibition there against a crew which was 5th in the world only 2 weeks ago. That is astounding.
Looking good to recapture the title they won in 2017. Last year it was Hodgkins, Byrne and Thornton, who were basically GB, but University of London and Nottingham Rowing Club last year winning the Stonor Challenge Trophy. And right now it looks like it's destined for New Zealand. So the Chinese have got an enormous amount of work to do, and again just veering out towards the middle of the river. They're not gun barrel straight, are they?
No,
that's not going to help their cause.
But I think they're in a position where they're getting caught a little bit by the wash coming off the stern of the New Zealand boat, and the boat starts to twist a bit in the water and makes it harder to manage for sure. And that's part of the advantage of being ahead. But they're really, look at the rhythm of that New Zealand crew. There's nothing complicated with the finish. They let go of the blades really nice and early, and the boat just runs really freely.
Brooke Donoghue in the bow seat. Here's the camera, and Olivia Loe in the stroke seat. Effortless.
And the applause coming off the crowd, seeing two fantastic crews coming down here racing towards the last 20 seconds of the race.
Well, we talk about it a lot in elite sport, don't we? Making it look easy is what the very best do, and it was anything but the New Zealanders there with a real flourish. Over the line and winners, it's Donoghue and Loe winning the Stonor Challenge Trophy. A little bit behind them, the Chinese, Loe and Wang over the line. Classy performance. So yeah, celebrations belong to the New Zealanders, and we've definitely seen a New Zealand characteristic in the last few races on the water.
Yeah, there's the 2 races we've seen with the New Zealand crew so far this morning. There's something about the pattern of rowing they have, where the second 2 minutes they just seem to have some sort of efficiency that moves them way ahead. It's an outstanding, dominant performance there by the New Zealanders today. You can see there clearly how the New Zealanders putting some distance on the Chinese coming down towards the finish line there.
Henley medals for Donoghue and Loe, as was the case in 2017.